So far, we've been trying to understand how students learn math and science and how teachers can best facilitate and design that process. But all of this kind of assumes that we are building a fresh constructivist utopia filled with discovery and inquiry, where we fully engage students and build on their prior wealth of knowledge. The problem is that we aren't starting fresh. We can, to a limited extent, decide how we are going to teach in our own classrooms, although we are also tied to the standard curriculum and tests. But the system out there is vast. In fact, it is many integrated systems. And from a distance, we all might look like bees with thousands upon thousands of tiny hexagonal classrooms, each one with a teacher bee inside. And every one of those teacher bees has a mind of their own. So how do we possibly get 1,000,000 bees to teach more effectively? Looking at our main text, which is chapter 8 of How People Learn, the authors point out that this idea of studying teacher learning is fairly new and underexplored. They suggest that teacher learning happens in 4 ways. Firstly, teachers learn from experience. As they teach, they learn what works and what doesn't, and bit by bit they develop and improve their own practice. Secondly, teachers learn from their colleagues, both informally through daily conversations and sometimes formally through mentoring relationships, supervision, and in-service trainings, and through their involvement with unions. Thirdly, teachers learn about teaching from their own life experiences, from raising their own children, and from coaching and other work with youth. And fourthly, teachers learn from teacher education. Formal teacher training can be divided into pre-service education that happens through universities and in-service professional development that happens maybe a day a month for practicing teachers. Some practicing teachers choose to upgrade either by taking a sabbatical through night classes or increasingly online. This presentation, cobbled together from the main text and the other suggested readings, will focus mainly on formal teacher training. We will look critically at the methods through which teacher training is usually conducted, and we will also look at the interrelated issue of content and the new emphasis on STEAM subjects. All of this is in the context of British Columbia and also looking globally. We are living in a time of incredible change, and responding to that change on a personal level, within a community, and within our institutions is a great challenge. Each one of us has a small part to play in this process.
Part 2, Critique of Pre-Service, In-Service, and Teacher Education. Ideally, teacher in-service training would be learner-centered, knowledge-centered, assessment-centered, and community-centered. We should be teaching teachers the way we want them to teach.
Learner-centered training is based on the strengths, interests, and needs of teachers. As teachers, we often tailor our teaching to how our students learn best by adapting lessons, physical environments, and even learning outcomes. However, workshops and professional development opportunities are often not tailored to the teacher's needs. In-service learning opportunities such as lectures and workshops are often generalized and not able to accommodate the wide range of needs between classes, students, and teachers. In the district I work in, teachers are given professional development days once a month to help us develop our teaching and to promote our own learning. Easily, one of the biggest frustrations of my own teaching practice right now is finding a suitable in-service training each month that matches my personal teaching style, or one that's applicable to the students I teach and support. Even when attending in-service training based on technology, it's frustrating because teachers are at such varying levels of ability that you never know if a session will be beneficial. A knowledge-centered approach requires teachers to take on a learner mindset, to take risks, be open-minded, and to not have all the answers. Workshops based on the knowledge-centered approach are often very specialized or very generic, such as integrating specific programs like Minecraft EDU into the math curriculum versus looking at teaching with technology in maths in general. However, given the amount of time allocated for professional development or even time in the pre-service of teaching, it is not enough for teachers to restructure their entire thinking or understanding of a subject, let alone all subjects for elementary school teachers. Assessment-centered training for teachers is critical in helping solidify their understanding and improve their practice. One of the key components of assessment-centered training is around receiving feedback and reflecting on what worked and what didn't. It is why we write comments on assignments for students so they know how they can improve next time. This is a major aspect that's lacking in the teaching profession. From my own practice, formal feedback from my administrators was only required 3 times in my first year teaching. Unless I specifically seek out feedback from teachers I'm collaborating with, there really isn't an opportunity. Community-centered. Peterson et al. States that collaborative discussions become most valuable when 2 teachers are jointly involved in sense-making and understanding of the phenomena of learning, and that is what community-centered training is. It encourages teachers to collaborate and share their successes and failures through the process of research, practice, discussion, and reflection. In order to go through that process, it requires teachers to invest in time outside of school to work with each other to make community-centered learning successful.
3. 21st century skills. Full steam ahead. The skills needed to thrive in the 21st century workplace have shifted. G et al. Have identified 5 key skills that, if curriculums were centered upon, would better prepare their pupils to thrive in the societies in which they are a part of. These are creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and problem solving. Many schools have responded to these needs through STEAM initiatives. STEAM aims to center learning on the integration of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math through conceptually based units of inquiry, rather than looking at these as standalone subjects. Even better is when STEAM integrated inquiries are administered through authentic and contextual problems that learners can work through in peer groupings. For educators, it's crucial that we facilitate these integrated inquiries by creating environments, such as science labs, that promote risk-taking and learning through failure. Instead of giving learners a scripted experiment, why not give students the materials, let them think of a problem, then guide them to take risks and to try again. Most crucial is teaching and supporting the metacognitive skills of reflection, as well as being sure that assessment looks at the process rather than the outcome. G et al. Suggests that pre-service training programs integrate STEAM into their curriculums and that in-service programs budget for proper training and time for implementation. In addition, G et al. Posit that schools should concentrate on their area, that is, assessment, resources, experiences, and administration. As previously mentioned, assessment should not be prescript and holistically look at the learning that takes place along the road and not the destination. Resources and experiences should be authentic and contextual and not be prescribed from a textbook. Lastly, administration should be supportive of their staff in the communication, collaboration, creation, and problem-solving necessary in order to make STEAM happen. STEAM in action. STEAM in the International Baccalaureate, or for short, IB curriculum. To illuminate what STEAM could look like in context, I will share with you 5 reasons why I think STEAM works within the IB's primary years program at my school in Suzhou, China. These are transdisciplinary learning, collaborative teaching, learning experiences, administrative support, and assessment. Transdisciplinary learning. In the primary years program, or PYP, subjects are not standalone. They're integrated into 6 units of inquiry. STEAM naturally becomes a part of each inquiry. Collaborative teaching. Coordination of the skills and expertise of all homeroom and single subject teachers, like language, PE, music, and art, are incorporated into each of our inquiries. Learning experiences do not center on textbooks. Teaching incorporates modeled use of 21st century skills in order to draw from a multitude of resources. As a result, teachers are focused on keeping the learning authentic and focusing on experiences that are contextual. Administrative support. Schedules and timetables allow for cross-curricular collaboration for planning and learning experiences. In addition, we have an EdTech team that encourages and supports STEAM-based initiatives such as Hour of Code, Genius Hour, and after-school clubs. Furthermore, professional development towards STEAM initiatives and lifelong learning is supported. Assessment. First, our assessment is backwards plan, also known as Understanding by Design, by McTeague and Wiggins. Put simply, teachers think of what is to be learned first, then design what the evidence of that learning could look like. It is only afterwards that learning experiences needed to get there are planned. This benefits STEAM since thoughtful and purposeful integration takes place. Secondly, assessment is cyclical, meaning that it is formative and summative, then back to formative. This promotes risk-taking and learning through failure mentioned previously, by teaching learners through metacognition. Finally, assessment is differentiated and varied. Each learner has the potential to achieve success and is given a choice in the way that they wish to achieve the success criteria. It is not standardized or a prescript, one-size-fits-all approach. To conclude, while STEAM integration in the IB's PYP may still not be perfect, it does lend itself to a motivating and richly rewarding teaching experience.
STEAM in action, the new BC curriculum. As a BC teacher, we are in the midst of trying to implement a new redesigned curriculum that focuses on 3 levels of core competencies for our students. Communication, emphasizing the exchange of information and ideas. Thinking, including both creative and critical thinking. Personal and social across all subjects.
Prior to this curriculum change, learning goals were focused on each subject's prescribed learning outcomes. For example, students were expected to assess how physical environments affected ancient civilizations. Now, core competencies are taught through the big curricular ideas across all subjects. Come this September, teachers in BC are expected to fully implement the new curriculum. We are to do this without the necessary support of grade appropriate resources, training, and time to fully explore it. The district has allocated 2 district-wide professional development days for teachers to get together to discuss what is in the new curriculum. 2 days to understand and to find innovative ways to teach brand new topics and to create new resources, because none of the current resources are at grade level it needs to be. For instance, recently it was announced that coding in schools will be added to the BC curriculum. But no plans have been made about how teachers will be supported. Who will train us? Will we have the necessary resources? What will the assessment look like? It is questions like these that worry a lot of the teachers like myself when it comes to the new curriculum. Moving forward, like STEAM, the idea of inquiry and integrated subjects in the new curriculum sound amazing. However, without proper support, the chances of success and not reverting to how we used to teach may be difficult. It is not what the curriculum is about that's worrisome, but how we will manage to implement it successfully. There is no quick fix or solution. For the new BC curriculum to be successful, teachers need to be properly supported, like how we support our students to be successful in their own learning.
We've been talking about the strengths, weaknesses, and developing trends within formal teacher education. Remember, this is just one of the 4 categories identified in our main text. And realistically, a practicing teacher has limited opportunities to access these formal trainings and even less say in the particulars of what these trainings will teach. It can all feel quite disempowering. So we'll end our presentation with the idea of action research. This can take many forms, but essentially it's the idea of teachers bringing the scientific method into their own classrooms and studying their own practice to identify and explore what methods are most effective. Teachers do this every day informally. Teachers learn from their own experiences. The idea of action research, though, takes this to a whole new level. Scientific thinking is, by definition, rigorous, documented, and peer-reviewed. Enlisting teachers as researchers has the potential to accelerate our collective exploration of the process of human learning. Studies show that teacher-led action research ends up being more relevant and useful than comparable studies done by academics. That just makes sense. Teachers know where the problems are and what a realistic solution might look like. On the downside, examples of action research are rare. The context for this type of research is underdeveloped, and most teachers don't have enough spare time to make it happen. But teachers who do conduct action research take their whole school community along for the ride. The experience can radically transform the very fabric within an entire community of practitioners. And really, that is what we were looking for. Our education system needs a transformation. The rapidly approaching future is demanding that we make radical changes to the way we do education. There is a world of opportunity out there, and we still have so much to learn. We might feel sometimes like worker bees, but every one of us has a unique contribution to make. This much at least is clear. If we truly expect schools to unlock the hidden potential of students, we need to also figure out how to unlock the hidden potential of teachers.